Okay. So we are going to talk here about loops. We're going to specifically talk about for loops. And we'll talk about some of the other loops like a while loops. By far, the main thing that you need, the first thing you need to master is understanding the for loop. I do know some teachers who teach a while loop first, and then they go on a for loop after that. I can understand that. I tend to teach the for loop first because it's the loops that you see most commonly in programming. And a for loop essentially is a way of telling the computer for, and then there are three statements inside of here. You have to, the first statement, and you don't have to put all the statements in there, but generally you'll see all three statements in here. For, yeah. The first statement is your iterator. You declare your iterator. Your iterator basically is a variable that you're setting up to run the loop. Usually it's I. And usually you start at 0. So I equals 0. That means you're telling the loop, I want you to loop and I want you to set an initial variable of I. And I want you to set it to 0.
That's what it stands for.
The I stands for iterator. The second section, and the sections are separated by semicolons. The second section is you want to loop until condition is met.
That's your done.
Yeah, usually. But it could be anything, right? I'm putting a lot of space in here just so that my comments up here can go one for one. So the iterator is this. And then, as Tyler was saying, which is correct, I is less than fruits.length.
The last one is your plus plus.
Yep, and the last one usually in a standard loop would just be plus plus, but this is really how to move through the process.
Like what increment you're going to move up?
Yes, how to increment. How to increment or decrement. And what do we mean by that? I'll show you in a minute. So we got three statements here. For I equals 0, I is less than fruits.length, I plus plus, and here console.log fruits of I. So before we do that, let's just console.log I. I is your iterator. So if we were console.log I, then here they are 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Do you always use I? Jeff had said something you can use whatever you want.
Use whatever you want.
That's the same.
We could make a variable called mouse, which I don't encourage you to do, but mouse will work. Mouse is less than fruits.length. Mouse plus plus, console.log, mouse. Mouse will be our iterator now. It's the exact same result.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like a designated keyword.
No. No.
Most coders use I though.
Most coders use I as it's a convention. But then sometimes if there's a loop within a loop, they'll use J for the next loop. So, you know. All right, so we'll go back to our I's. But I don't want you to think that the for loop will always look like this. Sometimes you can do something like this. The iterator, it's the iterator, but it's also set to an initial value, right? So for you can start here, I equals 10. I is less, we can loop as long as I is greater than -1, and then we're going to do I minus minus, and it will go down each time. So when we run this, we get, you see on the right hand side here, Donnie, what do you see here?
It's counting backwards.
Counting backwards, why?
Because you started at 10 and you're decrementing it to -1, so it doesn't go all the way to -1, it stops at 0.
Right.
I thought the middle. Okay, so it is going down to -1. That's the loop until the.
No, it's looping as long as I is greater than -1. So when it's at 0, it's the last pass, but at that point I becomes -1 and it stops. So you loop until you loop as long as condition is unmet. I think that's a better way to say it. As long as condition is unmet. So for example, you could loop as I is greater than or equal to -1.
That's what I was just about to ask. Can you use
See?
the greater than or equal to?
Yeah. And you see on the right hand, Serenity? You see the -1 is in here now. You could say for I equals 10, for I equals 100. And this loop would loop down from 100 all the way to -1.
That's simple.
The other thing that you can do is you could say for I, let's go for back to I equals 0. You can say I is less than 20, right? It's going to loop as long as I is less than 20. So this will end at 19. If we want to include 20, what would we do? Tyler, what do you think we could do if we wanted to include 20 in it? We're looping as long as I is less than 20, and it only goes to 19. How can we make it so that it includes 20? Less than or equal to 20, right. So then now it includes 20. Less than or equal to.
You might have a question. Is it the minus one? It's like, no, minus one just goes down instead of spiking.
Yeah.
Can you add an and statement in the conditional?
Where?
Like less than 20 and something else?
Well, I mean, you could. I is less than 20 and, but I don't know what the and would be.
I just wondered if you could combine more things to it, like regular.
You could, if you wanted to. But it's hard to think of why you would need to do that. Because all this does is control the conditions. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason, but I can't think of one right now. To have two conditionals there?
Well, like an and or an or.
No. I mean, I don't think you would ever want to do that. You can break out of the loop though if a certain condition is met. And I can show that. Yeah, I can show that in a minute. The next thing I want to talk about though is I just want to keep going across the line of what each one of these things does, which each section is for. So we said the first section is the iterator. When you declare the iterator, the second section is loop as long as that condition is unmet. And the third one is how to increment or decrement. And I'm spacing it out so you can see these lining up with the English on top. But you can also do I plus equals. So if we do I plus equals 2, then it will increment by 2's. So if we run this, see the result on the side? 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
So it's where you're starting, where you're going to, and how you're getting there.
And how you're getting there, right.
You want to
Where you're starting, where you're going to, and how you're getting there.
put I equals 1 and go by odd numbers.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I was about to do in my next example. Josh, yeah, thank you. So yeah, if you start with 1, and I is less than or equal to 20, right, and now an I plus equals 2, so it'll go to 1, and then 3, and then 5. You see on the right-hand side?
What if you left out the equal sign in the incrementer and just I plus 2?
Then it won't increment.
It just goes 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.
It'll go an infinite loop
Okay.
because it's just going on forever. You see 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Exactly.
Why does it do that again?
Because you're looping as long as I is less than or equal to 20, and I never gets higher.
Okay.
You can't say I plus 2. This just results to 1 plus 2, which is 3. It just is a statement, but you're not incrementing. You're not incrementing I. You have to do something to move I towards the goal, or else you'll end up with an infinite loop.
So you'll always have two operators getting the increment part.
Yeah.
It is like when it's like I plus equal to means I equal to I plus 2 is doing that.
Right. That I plus equals 2 means I equals I plus 2.
Yeah.
Like this. I equals I plus 2. Right.
I just didn't
Now
know
that
if it
works.
would ever do that. Just use one operator for some reason.
Nope. I plus equals 2 is the way to go. So the reason why it's common to see I equals 0, I is less than fruits.length, like what Tyler was saying earlier, and then I plus plus, is this is a standard way to loop through an array. Because arrays have indices. And so what we tend to do is we console.log fruits I. So fruits, the first time fruits I is fruits 0, which is what? What's fruits 0? Apple. What's fruits 1? Orange. So every time you increment, I is a new number. And so you're going to go at a different index of that array. And that's what you get. And here we did less than or equal to fruits.length. Why do we get undefined at the end in white? Oh, it's not because of console log.
Oh, because length is
Length.
so it goes to 1.
What's fruits.length? What's fruits.length? How long is it? How many fruits?
5.
5. Is there an array? Is there a fruits 5? Is there this? Does this exist?
No.
Fruits 5. So we don't need to say yes, no.
Well, I guess it would just loop back to the front.
It doesn't do that.
No, it doesn't.
Fruits 5 is undefined. So this is fruits 0, fruits 1, fruits 2, fruits 3, fruits 4.
I'm doing the length you create from this space over there, which is undefined, that is the result.
But if you did -1, it would still be fine.
What?
Like minus 1 would be banana.
Oh,
I is less than or equal to fruits.length minus 1. That could work. Yeah. See? Yeah, that works. Because less than or equal to fruits.length minus 1, fruits.length is 5, and it's really 4. Right. But what we usually do is we just say I is less than or equal to fruits.length. I mean, not less than or equal, just less than fruits.length, rather. That less than fruits.length is 5. So we don't want 5, we want stuff less than 5. Now, if we want to loop backwards, we have to start I equals fruits.length minus 1, because that'll get us started at the 4 index. We want to loop as long as I is greater than 0. And then we want to, or greater than -1 really, greater than or equal to 0. And then we want to do I minus minus. So then now we'll go backwards. So let's talk our way through this. Because tomorrow in the warm-up, you're going to have to do this. Tomorrow in the warm-up, you're going to have to do this, so you guys should be paying attention. We're looping backwards through an array. We're saying for I equals fruits.length minus 1. What's fruits.length? 5. So we're starting for I equals fruits.length, which is 5, minus 1, which is 4. So starting at 4, We're looping as long as I is greater than or equal to 0, and we're doing I minus minus. So we start with fruits 4. This is fruits 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we start with fruits 4, which is banana. And then we loop again, I minus minus, we have to do fruits 3, which is peach. Then fruits 2, fruits 1, and then fruits 0. We loop as long as I is greater than or equal to 0. And we're subtracting our way through the array. It's different. Okay? So that's how the for loop works. So take your time and digest all of that. That's how the for loop works.